Hello everyone, welcome back to Yards of Yarn. Okay, today is going to be the tutorial that I've been promising. So, you want to crochet, but you don't know where to start. First, you really only need 3 things. I'm going to show 4, but you only really need 3 things. You need your yarn, you need your crochet hook, and you need a pair of scissors. Now, 2 other things you might want to use, but are not technically speaking required, are stitch markers and a tapestry or darning needle. Now, sometimes you don't need a darning needle or tapestry needle. Sometimes you can just crochet your ends in, which is why I say it's not technically required. Also, the stitch marker is not technically required if you're not doing a project where you need to keep track of stitches. So, those are really the only things you need is yarn, scissors, and hooks. That's really all that you need to get started in crochet. So, you got your scissors. You know that was going to be the easy part. You have scissors around your home. So, you weren't worried about the scissors. You don't even have to buy a new set. You can just use the big old kitchen shears. And you know you got that. It's all good, right? So now, what kind of hook do you use? There's so many different kinds when you go to the store. Do you get one with the big handle? Do you get one with a small handle? Do you get a big hook, a little teeny tiny hook? What size hook do you get? What kind do you get? Do you get one like this that is basically one size until you get to the hook? Or do you get one that has a big handle right here? How can you tell what kind you need? Well, I'll tell you. As far as hooks go, other than the size of hook that you're using for your yarn, the handle is really just a matter of comfort. This is a boy crochet hook, aluminum hook. It's a size 5mm, or also known as an H in U.S. terms. So it's really just a matter of comfort. We will get into how we hold our hooks in a different video. But as far as how you're holding the hook, whether you're holding it like a pencil or like a knife, I've seen some other ways. It's really just a matter of comfort for yourself, whether you want one of the big ergonomic handles, or if you just want this smaller handle that's the size of the hook. It's just a matter of personal preference. So really what matters most is the size of the hook itself in relation to your yarn and what project you're making. So let's move on to the yarn. What kind of yarn do you get? The best yarn for a beginner to use is acrylic, and I would say a number 4 or worsted weight yarn. What are those words? What's acrylic? What is worsted weight? What is number 4 yarn? What are those things? What? Well, it's like this, okay? So here on the label, you can see that. Right here on the end, where it says number 4, that is the size of your yarn. And underneath the 4 is, on top of it, on top of the 4, it says medium. My camera is not picking it up. But on top of the 4, it says medium. That's how you know it's a medium weight. The number 4 medium weight yarn. That is the size. Next to it, you'll see the word 5mm. My camera is not picking that up really well. And underneath it, you'll also, right there, is also a pair of knitting needles. So that tells you the size of the knitting needle that you need. And right next to that, it has a crochet hook with a 5mm above that. And that tells you what size crochet hook you'll need. I happen, for this demonstration, to have just grabbed a hook, and it happened to be the 5 millimeter, um, which is actually what is needed for this yarn. You do not have to use the hook size recommendation on the yarn. You can use a smaller size or a bigger size, and in one of my next videos, one of my upcoming tutorials, I will show you the difference that hook size can make. The size recommendation is just a recommendation. It is not a requirement. It just affects how your project will look and how the yarn will look in your project. And many patterns and all that, they will tell you what size to use for the pattern. And if you're experimenting, then go for it. Experiment with different size hooks. Use a size P for a lightweight 3. I don't care. I'm actually thinking I'm going to try that now because I kind of want to see how it turns out. First I have to buy a size P hook. So yeah, that's really all you need. And in our upcoming videos, we will learn more about why and how hook size affects your project, how to hold your hook, and yeah, and all that fun stuff. Now, one of the things I'd like to touch on, two things. As far as tapestry needles and darning needles go, there are metal ones, there are plastic ones. It doesn't matter. I have used both. Currently I'm using a plastic tapestry needle, and I like it a lot. I find it doesn't do any different than the metal needle. In fact, in a lot of ways it's easier for me because it doesn't get stuck in my work most times. But that just might be how I'm using it. As far as stitch markers go, this is a stitch marker. This is not the only kind of stitch marker. This is the kind I happen to like and use. I like it a lot because it clips. It's like a safety pin. And if you don't want to go out and spend money on stitch markers, safety pins work great. Or paper clips, or really anything that you can use as a stitch marker, as a way to mark your stitch, is just fine. It doesn't have to be a store-bought, a fancy stitch marker like what I have here. I just happened to be yarn shopping with my mom and begged her for these because I was like, I need those for my project. I saw somebody else using them and I want to be involved in my yarn community. This was several months ago before I knew for sure that I was going to be starting videos. And she was buying me some yarn for a different project that I was working on, a loom knitting project. And I was like, oh, I saw in one of the loom knitting videos that they had stitch markers. And you know what? Stitch markers are great whether you are loom knitting or crocheting. And I'm sure they do just as good in needle knitting. Don't know. I haven't tried needle knitting yet. I'm going to get to that one day though. So yeah, that's all you need to get started. Now, when you go to the store and you see all these different kinds of yarn, this is what number 4 worsted weight looks like. Okay, it's just your regular yarn that you see everywhere. It's I think it's one of the most used yarns in non crochet knitting, loom knitting projects. It's one of the easiest to use. It's used frequently in God's eyes and other things. But yeah, so it's just your typical yarn. I do not recommend starting with a lightweight 3 or smaller, or going with a bulky 5 or bigger, because it can be difficult to use those if you are not yet comfortable holding the hook or your yarn. Both things which we will talk about in upcoming videos. So that is what this video is all about. Please like, subscribe, comment in the boxes down below, and that would be great. Share this video with your friends. Don't share it, I don't care. Just watch it, share it, love it. If you like it, love it. Awesome. Sorry, it is very late right now. It's almost midnight, and I'm tired. Sorry if I'm rambling. Wow, this 5-minute video that I had planned in my head is almost 10 minutes. So I'm gonna go. So thank you guys for watching my video. Thank you to everyone that has been subscribing and sharing with their friends and commenting and liking. Thank you so much. I try to respond to all the comments. So please leave me a comment. If you cannot hear me, please let me know. I noticed on some of the previous videos I took with my camera that it was hard to hear me. So please, if you cannot hear me, let me know. Alright, that's it. Bye everyone.